to Chef Debbie's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making a stuffed shell using cheese. Good old ricotta cheese. That's the American way of saying it. We used to say ricotta. So anyways, I've got 2 pounds in my bowl of ricotta cheese. I have some salt and pepper. I have some cinnamon and nutmeg, which this recipe I grew up with. My mother had to add those 2 wonderful spicy ingredients, which makes it so, gives it a little bit of different sweetness to it. In this bowl I've got some eggs. We're going to do 3 today. I've got some fresh chopped parsley, Pecorino Romano cheese, and I've got some panko breadcrumbs. Just in case it gets a little bit too soft, we can add that. And then yes, I've got a pound of grated mozzarella cheese that we're going to add to this mix. So we're going to just start by dumping everything in. I like to get my eggs in there first. Stir that all together. Throw in a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, our cinnamon and nutmeg, because when we add our Pecorino Romano cheese, we are also adding an enormous amount of sodium right there. Okay, I like to start it out with a fork, but I'll tell you what, a fork just doesn't cut it after a while. So we will get our little friendly spatula here, and I'll put in our parsley. Ooh, that's good. There's nothing like using fresh ingredients when you can. And the smell of the fresh parsley with the cinnamon and nutmeg is so unique. You've just got to try it for yourself and smell that awesome herb of parsley. There we go. Now, we are going to put in our whole pound of nicely shredded, mozzarella cheese. There we go. And we just want to stir that in to our ricotta cheese so that it is all incorporated. Oh, that's looking really well. And over here I have some, I'm going to put it up high. I've got my big pot of salted water, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of olive oil before I throw my pasta in. And then we want to stuff these, because in my household, stuffed shells used to come more than once a year. We would always have it around the holidays. And then my husband, who is not even Italian born, mind you, requests stuffed shells every birthday year. And he's going on a lot of birthdays, so that's what we're doing. We are preparing these stuffed shells to freeze. And what I'm going to do is I have a lightly sprayed, oil sprayed pan here. What we're going to do when the pasta's done, we're going to stuff them, put them on our trays, stick them in the freezer, so that we can keep them for any time we want a meal. A nice fresh Italian, like you've made this meal all day. Oh, this is wonderful. And you can give it a taste. I don't mind eating raw egg. I think tasting in the kitchen before serving is a must. How many times have you gone to a restaurant where they've served something and you want to say, did you taste the food before it left the kitchen? Well, unfortunately, I have had that happen a couple times. Well, I am not going to throw in my breadcrumbs yet. We're going to go over here. And my water is really boiling here. And I'm going to dump in about a tablespoon of water. That just helps to keep the pasta from sticking a little bit. And we're going to dump in 1 whole box of our jumbo shells. There we go. And what I'm going to do is wait for it to come to a boil again. When it comes to a boil, we're going to knock it down just a notch, because we don't want it boiling really fast. We want to just let it have a very small rolling boil. And we're going to cook this, maybe 5-7 minutes, and then we'll come back to stuffing them. And I see now that I don't even think we need the breadcrumbs. And the nice thing about not adding the breadcrumbs, if you have a gluten allergy, you could use, and I have used rice shells, and you've got no breadcrumbs in here, and you have a totally gluten-free meal. So come back and we'll get ready to stuff our shells. Well, I have been very busy stuffing my shells. And what I did is when my mixture was all done, I put it in my refrigerator for about 20 minutes to a half an hour. You could do it as little or as long as you want. Makes it a little easier to stuff, but truthfully, you could have probably done it right away. Just open up that shell and stick a spoonful in there. There's probably, I'd say, a good tablespoon of ricotta filling in each shell. And the other thing is, I needed more than one box full. So it's always good to buy two. And I was able to boil up another half a pound to finish my big batch of ricotta by cheese stuffing. And the other nice thing is, too, is make sure you have a nice colander with a bowl under it so that when you have boiled your pasta and it's ready to come out, get one of these big strainers on a handle, because you can take them out, strain it, put it in your colander, and then you can boil some more pasta in there without dumping it out. And then you want to make sure when you put your pasta in here, run it under cold water so you could touch it. And then it's ready to stuff. So really, the setup is so nice to have, because that's half the art of cooking, is knowing how to be prepared. It's really easy if you get organized. So here we are. We have stuffed all of our shells. This is a box and a half, and I'm going to stick them in my freezer. Now you can see some of these look awful. Well, they break. Some of them break, but the beauty of it, you can still put them together. No one's going to know, and if they're a little messy looking, it's okay, because you're going to put them from the freezer to a big baking dish, and you're going to cover them with your favorite Italian sauce, and then you'll cover the pan, bake them in a 400 oven for about 40 minutes. Who's going to know they look this terrible? Stick them in the freezer for several hours or overnight, and then just take them off the sheet, which we sprayed so they won't get stuck. Put them in a nice freezer baggie. And I'll tell you what, folks, this recipe, if you can find some local ricotta cheese in your area, buy it. It is so nice. When I grew up, we had the nice firm ricotta cheese, and we'd mash it with a fork. I have a hard time finding it here locally, but you might be able to in your area. So go on your website, on my website. Yeah, go on your website, try it. Go on my website at memorableFoodDishes.com and get this recipe. And again, if you really don't want the ricotta cheese in the store and you want to use tofu, I've done it. Tofu is an excellent alternative to ricotta cheese, and it adds that extra source of protein, and it's not all dairy. So enjoy, have fun with it, use the leftovers for something else. I could talk for another hour on how we could use even leftovers. So enjoy a wonderful stuffed shell with cheese filling my way.